Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here for yet another food storage related video. And I hope you're not getting tired of this topic, but it's one of my very favorite things to talk about because there's so much about it that is just very, very beneficial. And we're not just talking about preparedness and putting up for hard times, though that is a big one. It's just having food storage is very convenient. And if you have a garden that produces, you know, whatever it is that it produces, you've got something coming out of there, even if it's just one thing that it produces high quantities of, then instead of wasting what you can't keep up on or just giving it away, you can preserve it through various means, whether it be freezing, canning, or dehydrating, or even freeze drying if you have a freeze dryer, so that you can put it up to last you for at least the rest of the year. So there's just something really great about always having some kind of food storage on hand. It makes life so much more convenient too when you go to prepare meals. If you get a thought in your head, maybe you already have your whole week planned out, and then all of a sudden you think to yourself, I'm not in the mood to make this dish. I'm more in the mood to make that dish. Well, guess what? You don't have to run back to the store and get more ingredients, because if you're properly prepared with your food storage, and then all you have to do is go to your own private little grocery store and pick your ingredients out from there. You're ready to go. Or if you have guests that suddenly show up and you realize you're not quite making enough for all of them, go get some more out of your food storage and prepare some more. So easy to do. Because I just recently canned up a bunch of carrots, as you can see here on the counter, it just kind of got me thinking even more. Even though I know the day that I'm shooting this video is actually March 8th, so it's actually going to go out sooner than most of my videos. I've been doing this a lot, putting videos, having them published sooner than I normally would, because I'm about 3 to 4 weeks ahead. But because of certain things that are going on right now in the world, when I decide to shoot a topic that I think is important to the right now, I try to get it out as soon as possible. And this particular topic on food storage I think is incredibly important, especially now with everything that's going on. So we see a whole bunch of panic buying going on out there. But for some silly reason, most people seem to be stocking up only on bottled water and toilet paper. You should have a good storage of water. You should have a good storage of toilet paper. But how good is that toilet paper going to be if by chance things that are happening out there get bad enough that you need to stay isolated in your own home? Or maybe you simply just don't want to brave going out to the store. That toilet paper is not going to be good for much if you don't have any food. So you need to be putting food up as well. Now, I realize that most of my followers right now are people that they're already doing this stuff, so it's kind of like preaching to the choir. But I do know there's a few out there that are just getting started into this and really starting to think about the importance of this, or maybe they're entirely new altogether to the whole concept of food storage. And so this is one of the other reasons why I keep putting these videos out and how important it is. Now, let's just say you run out and you stock up on a whole bunch of food because you've been watching my videos and certain other people's videos, and you think, you know what, I better go ahead and get started. Or maybe you're thinking about it, but there's that part of you that's like, but what if? What if all this blows over and it's no big deal, and now I have a year's supply of beans, rice, and other things, and for what? You know, was it a waste of money? Absolutely not. Because here's the deal. One thing that's great about beans and rice is they have a very, very long-term shelf life. You don't have to freeze them. You don't even have to vacuum seal them in jars like a lot of people do. Even just in the bags they came in, they will stay good for a long time. Yes, it's wise to put them in Mylar bags and vacuum seal, throw in some oxygen absorbers first, and then put a Gamma Seal lid on it. That's going to make them last even longer. But if it's just going to be in there for a year to 2 years, you're fine. It's good. Okay? Just, I still recommend at least putting that bag that it came in a bucket of some sort. But here's the deal. So maybe this particular crisis, quote unquote, isn't going to make you have to fall back on your food storage. But what if something else comes up that does? You know, let's just say, I brought this up in another recent video I just put out. Let's just say something as simple as your freezer breaks down and you really need your freezer for your food storage. Or maybe it's your washing machine that breaks down, or some other major appliance, or maybe it's your car. Maybe a family member has some kind of accident and they need emergency medical care, and that's going to be a big bill. These are the kind of things that happen to people all over the world all the time. So maybe it's not happening to you today, but it's probably happening to somebody 2 houses down from you. And maybe tomorrow it'll be your turn. It's just your normal everyday crisis things. So why would food storage help when those kind of things come up? Well, because when you have some kind of big bill, or maybe you're just really crunched for time, you don't have time to go shopping for meals, or you don't have time to really even prepare meals. Having some home canned goods is in your storage. Not only do you have the food there to fall back on, so you don't have to buy as much groceries that week, you can even, or that month, you can even just say, I don't need to buy groceries for a month, I'm well stocked. Now I can focus the money that's coming in onto these other big bills, you know, replacing this appliance or paying off this medical bill or whatever it is. And then when things are good again, because you know, life is a roller coaster, then you take the extra money whenever you have it and just rebuild your stocks. But you know, but again, coming back to this canned goods thing, this is where, like I mentioned in another video that just came out a couple days ago, you know, about freezing versus drying versus canning. This is one of the areas where having home canned goods is really beneficial. One of my favorite things to can for those times where life just gets chaotic is chili. It's got everything we need in that one jar of chili. I can open that up, heat it up on the wood stove, and we're good to go. And I do try to reserve that though for those times when life is just too crazy and we don't have time. I don't have time to prepare a meal. So it's convenient in that way. And again, so with life, maybe it's not even that you need to fall back on your food storage for monetary reasons, but just because it's easy, it's because life is chaotic right now. You've got a whole bunch of extra things going on, and now that you've got food put up in some form that's easy to prepare, even dried foods are easy to prepare and quick. You can make a pot of soup super easy, super quick with your home dried goods, or even your Mother Earth Products dried goods, whatever it is, because I do both. I dry my things from my garden, but I also buy freeze-dried and dehydrated foods that I can't grow or can't grow as well. So those things are easy to do and quick, and it doesn't require a lot of time, and it certainly means I can save more time doing things here at the house instead of having to run to the store to buy all these ingredients because I've already got them. Let me come back to the whole idea of, you know, the gardening and the preserving. So the reason I have carrots here, even though it's way too early in the year to be canning carrots from the garden, why do I have these then? Well, because as I've said in several other videos, carrots are just not one of the things that do great for us. Some years we can get a decent crop, but usually they're smaller carrots and we just don't get an abundance. Not enough for me to can. I've been waiting for years to be able to can carrots out of my own garden, but it's just not happening. I'm just not getting enough at a time to make it worth it to run the canner. So what I did this time is we had to go into town. We had a recall on our little car that we bought this last summer. So of course, you know, we were able to they paid for a rental car, so we were able to do that and go get some shopping done while we're in there. We always make the most of our trips into town because we try not to go in there very often, maybe once every 3 to 4 months. So we went to the Coastal, we stocked up on some chicken feed, we went to the Costco and stocked up on a few other things. And I thought, you know what, now would be the perfect time to just go ahead and buy 2 big bags of the fresh organic carrots, that's 12 pounds total, and can some up. Why now? Well, several reasons. One, because I don't know when we'll be able to get back into town, especially with the way things are going. I'm not sure we'll want to get back into town. And the other thing is, if I do this now and can these up now, this is going to save me more time in canning later. Instead of waiting until the time of the year that I do most of my canning, which usually starts late spring and through the summer and early fall, because I like to do it all outside, I decided I'm just going to take a jump on it. Even if it's too rainy for me to can outside, I can bring the propane canner thing inside, you know, crack the door up and all that. I can talk about that in another video. but I didn't have to because I ended up having a beautiful day within 2 days of going to Costco. So I canned those up. So now what's happened is I've set aside, I've got myself right here 16 pints of home canned carrots. And now I don't have to worry about trying to dedicate some of my precious garden space to something I know is not going to produce really well for me anyway. Though I still think it's wise to continue to keep trying. This year I want my focus to be on the foods that I know normally grow very well and are high producers, such as beans, zucchini, and potatoes. That's just a few examples. And then of course I have all my medicinal herbs and that kind of stuff. So I want to conserve my garden space for that because it's easy enough for me to find organic carrots for a good price. It's really hard for us to find fresh non-GMO corn for a good price. So that's another reason why I like to buy Mother Earth Products freeze-dry organic non-GMO corn, because it tastes just like fresh corn right off the cob, except for it's crunchy. I can throw it into soups and it's just wonderful. But it would be great if I could still get my own, and that's one of the things I want to focus on because I may not have access to some of this stuff. So I'm working that into my garden. And then maybe next year, once I feel like I understand, I get a good corn, maybe next year I'll go back into trying out the carrots. But for now, not only do I know that I've got some dehydrated carrots that I get from Mother Earth Products, I've got some home canned carrots that I can use in other ways that I can't use the dehydrated carrots. One question that came in recently on my that one video I did over a month ago, that one in particular was called Food Storage Beyond Rice and Beans, where I was trying to focus on everything but rice and beans. Well, not everything, most everything. And somebody asked, why so much food? There's only 2 of you, right? Well, yeah, but that's the whole idea of having food storage is to be able to put up for a long period of time so that we're ready to shelter in place if we need to, or if some major crisis comes up of any kind, even if it just hits us or whether it's just a local event or a global event, we're ready, we're set, and it's a peace of mind that is very calming. Some people assume, who aren't into preparing and food storage, they make this really bad assumption that preparing means you're constantly scared. Well, actually, no, it's the opposite. It means once you've got yourself into this position and big things happen on a grander scale, you're not scared anymore. You're calm. I mean, it's just been such a good feeling to know that we're ready no matter what happens with this current scare that's happening out there. We're ready. We're set as best as we can be. Certainly a lot better than those people that like to scoff at people that like us and accuse us of being fearmongers or living in fear. We don't live in fear. That's the thing. Maybe there was a little bit of fear it took to kind of motivate us to get started, but once you get started, it's kind of fun and exciting and even a little bit of a challenge. You know, that challenge is part of what makes it fun. Figuring out the best ways to store your food and how to rotate things and how to make things look nice and how many different types of things that you can put up to prevent food fatigue. But on top of that, we're also set, even though there's only 2 of us here in this house, not counting the dog and the 10 chickens. Well, they're not in the house, they're outside, but we do have other family locally that if a bigger crisis happens, and we end up having to bond together, I'm a little more prepared to take care of them as well. Though I do encourage them, and some of them are getting more into their own food storage, and that's great because we should all have something to bring to the table. But I'm also preparing for them as well, just in case. And even if not, I've got long-term food storage that can last us out for quite a number of years. Some things will last as long as 25 years. Some maybe 10, some 5, some just a year to 2. But the things that have the shorter shelf life, those are the things that we work through faster. It's that simple. So one of the points of this video is I wanted to say, if you're already gardening and you're already into food preservation, one of the things I really recommend that you do right now while you can is the things that you know that you've been trying for years that you know aren't high producers for you in your own garden. Go ahead and plant that stuff to keep working on it. But I recommend what you do is find a good source where you can get these things in a good, healthy, organic form if possible. But even if not, non-organic is better than none at all. Either get it canned up or get it dehydrated or something, or at least frozen if nothing else. But you do want to make sure that you just consider what you would do if you lost power or your freezer broke down. You want to be prepared to take care of that food right away, or at least have a backup generator of some sort if you don't. We're set because we have solar power, we have a backup generator as well, and if all else fails, I know I can can and dehydrate and I'm good. But anyway, I recommend, just like I did here with the carrots, now would be a really good time to go ahead and start putting up the stuff. Maybe you don't grow corn really well, then start putting up some corn. Even if it's just going to the Costco and buying cases of corn, I recommend doing that if it's something that you really like. Again, let's go back to the fact, don't put up a bunch of carrots. Some people don't like cooked carrots. Don't put up canned carrots if nobody in your family eats them. That would be silly. But we like them, we love them, in fact, and so that's why I did this. So only stick to the things that you and your family will eat anyway. The other thing that will do for you if you do that now is, if you choose not to try to work on growing that item, like for me with the carrots, I'm just going to skip it this year, then you can reserve, you can use that garden space to grow more of the things that do well, and that you can either can or dehydrate or just put in cold storage. Like potatoes can go for a very long time. We're still working through our last box of potatoes from last year, but they're starting to get a little bit soft. They're getting to that point that it's like, I'm trying to hurry up and get through the rest of them, or most of them, because the rest will go in the ground so I can grow more potatoes this year. You can, use that space that you would have normally tried growing a slightly successful or even unsuccessful batch of carrots to grow something that does well. The other thing is, the reason why I say do it now is because if you do this now, it will free up more of your time for canning the things that are coming in heavy later in the year. So don't wait until you're doing all that stuff to run in and buy your two big bags of carrots or whatever it is that you don't grow as well in your area, and then can it up. Do it now, get it out of the way, so now you've got the time for that. And then of course the other reason why I say now is, I don't think anybody, no matter who you are, whether you think food storage is a wise idea or not, I don't think anybody should be putting this off any longer. We're at a time right now, things are really delicate and we just don't know what's going to happen down the road. I'm just trying to encourage people to put themselves in the best situation they possibly can. Don't panic, don't live in fear, don't run out there and buy up everything on the shelves. Just get a little bit of stuff at a time. Get the things that really matter. Get the things you really enjoy, even if it means stocking up on cacao powder and cacao butter, just so you can have a way to make chocolate for yourself and your family that can add some kind of happiness and pleasure that will help prevent food fatigue, which I talked about in another video. And I talk about again in a video that I'm going to have published later. But somebody asked what food fatigue is. Well, if all you've got is rice and beans, I'm going to tell you that that might get you by, that might keep you alive. After a while, you're going to get so sick of it that you're just not even going to want to eat. And also, you're going to need more nutrients in your diet than that. Okay, so you want to be able to put up things that are nutrient dense, like you've got carrots that are high in vitamin A. You've got your greens that are high in many other types of vitamins, such as vitamin K and magnesium and calcium. A lot of your green vegetables are high in these things. And so this is why these things are important, and this is why I think people shouldn't put it off. Now, I don't think everybody has to run out and spend a lot of money on freeze-dried and dehydrated foods. If you have the money and you can do it, that might be the option for you to quickly get something put up. But you would be better off, especially if you're new to this, and you're really trying to build up your food storage, or maybe you only got a week's worth or a month's worth and you feel like maybe it would be wise to have a longer period of time, store it up. Just every time you go to the grocery store, buy a little bit more of this or that. Set aside $2, $5, maybe $10 of your regular grocery money for buying extra things to put into your food storage. Maybe forego your Starbucks coffee or whatever it is whatever your expensive fancy coffee is that you might buy every day. If you stop doing that for at least a week, you would have at least $49 extra for putting into food stores. And that's going off the assumption that a fancy cup of coffee is $7 a cup. I know some is cheaper than that, but every time I hear another price, I'm like, man, that's higher than it was last year. I don't buy that stuff, so I don't know. But, maybe it's just $30 a week that you're going to be saving. But a week, $30 extra a week for food stores, that's really great. When you look at the price of a 25-pound bag of rice being much cheaper than that, you could get enough rice and beans with that $30 to last you for at least a month, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 months. So just kind of take all these things into consideration. Just cut back in the areas that are excess that you really don't need. Start making your coffee at home, and then and I'm just using that as an example. Whatever the splurge is that you like to spend your money on, and that's okay. We all have our little splurges that, that we like to do. And as long as you can afford to do it, that's fine. But if you're wanting to prepare and put some stuff up for whatever may come your way, that you'd like to know that you've got that as a form of insurance and security, and you don't have extra money to spend on it, then it might mean you just need to cut back on some of your luxury items just for a time at least, so you can get that stuff put away. It doesn't have to be that hard, but wouldn't you rather give up a few of your luxury items now and have some good, yummy, healthy food there when you need it down the road if something does happen and you have to fall back on it? It's not, again, this isn't about living in fear, it's about being ready. So let me talk about the insurance idea. Having a food storage is a form of insurance that you can't get denied because you already have it. So it's not like with us when a good chunk of our roof blew off in a storm last year, and the house insurance that we've been paying into for 30 years denies us any kind of help at all. Really, that's ridiculous. It's just insane. So because though we are prepared, we have food storage, we had some money set aside, we were able to go ahead and just pay for the new roof. And Patrick did most of the work himself. We didn't have to go into debt for it. We were covered. But it kind of makes you think, what's the point of keeping this house insurance when they're not going to help you when you need it? So coming back to the food storage, it's a form of insurance that you cannot be denied. So when you need it, it will still be there for you. So especially if you're carefully storing your food and not letting it go bad and you're working through it, you got to keep working through that food and then adding to it. And once you've got it built up, it's just a matter of when you use something, next time you get a chance to go to the store or order something online, restock. Super easy. We actually do a lot of stuff online. I order a lot of things through Costco.com and have it shipped here. There's things I get through Amazon, Subscribe and Save. And then on those rare times we get into town, we stock up then. We have money set aside, we go, and that's what it's for restocking our food supplies. But we can get by without having to buy anything for a long period of time because we're set. But we do like to just keep those supplies built up. All right, so the whole idea of this video is to encourage people to keep you either doing what you're doing or start getting into it now. I say don't delay, but don't also go out there and panic buy and do it because you're scared. Do it because it's the right thing to do that's going to put you in a better situation no matter what happens. So even if all this blows over and you have all this food, now you're set and you're ready to go. If something else down the road hits only you and your family, you're ready and you don't have to depend on anyone else to take care of you. Okay, hope you enjoyed this video and that it encourages you to do what's best for you and your family. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.